right. Well, welcome everyone. It's a big week. It is the middle of March. It was the Love is Blind reunion week. Princess Kate is missing. A lot of stuff happening this week, but we're so excited to talk tonight on behalf of Sleep Awareness Month. Is that like a real thing, or is that something we just made as our community? Like, is it really like nationwide Sleep Awareness Month? Does anyone know? I think it is. So we are
I
educating
think it
tonight.
is.
We are perfect. We want to talk about sleep, and the more I personally learn about sleep, the more I feel like this is the hill I want to proverbially die on, because it is so important to understand why sleep is like this essential connective tissue to all of the things that all of the processes in our body. So we're gonna go fast and furious tonight. So I'm gonna share some slides so that we stay on track and move right along. But if you want to put in the chat or the comments, if you're watching live stream, like where are you zooming in from? And like what is the maybe best and worst thing you struggle with your sleep? Like what is the best aspect of your sleep, and what is the most like what is the most troubling or struggle part of your sleep, so that we can make sure we touch on that. We're going to overview tonight. We've got some amazing hostesses. We've got Jace Lundgren, Jenny Swisher, Kim Lima, and myself. Artina had a plumbing explosion at one of her rental properties, so she is here in spirit. I have her content we will share. But we're going to talk about why sleep is so important for our mental health, for our hormone health, for looking beautiful, for our weight, so many aspects of our bodies. Some of the tools that have helped us personally, some of the tools that we have to offer with Hue and Grace, and then just some like things that are free, things that you can do tonight to completely start shifting the trajectory of your health and your mental, all of it, and in your life. And then a way to join us. So I think I'll start us out. I'm going to look in the chat and see where everyone's tuning in from. Oh, we're from all over. Staying asleep is a big one. That for me as well, right? Like that is, and as we get older, there's more and more sleep surprises, I feel like. Um, but let's talk a little bit about sleep for some of these like basic things in our life. So sleep for beauty. I think, we're all aging. We all are um, going to have the just, life and getting older impact us and how we look and how we feel. But sleep can also be one of the most important aspects to like making us, helping us look and feel our best, and prolonging some of those, the effects of aging. So this is because during sleep is when our body is repairing. It's doing a lot of that repair work, specifically on our skin cells. A lot of the environmental toxins, a lot of the toxins that we put on with makeup, with skincare that isn't clean, cleaning products, shampoos, soaps, things that do have hormone disrupting chemicals in it, as well as just environmental toxins, pollutants in the air. Those things, and like just the sun, UV rays can really impact our skin negatively, and at night is when our body really repairs and restores a lot of those things. Lacking of sleep is going to impact that process and is going to impact our collagen production. It's going to increase wrinkles and fine lines, as well as those dark circles that we've all seen, and then just like a dullness of our skin. So getting enough sleep can really help and make sure none of that, giving our body a chance to really like do that repair work. Weight is another thing that sleep or lack of sleep can really impact. And I find this really fascinating because I've, came last decade, spent a career in fitness and nutrition and weight loss where we're working on weight. And what we never really ever talked about was how powerful sleep was in that process. I was reading a study, and there's many studies on this, but someone sleeping less than 6 hours a night is like for folks sleeping less than 6 hours a night, they have higher BMI, so they're higher weight. They're also at a much higher risk for obesity. So I would love to know, like in the chat or in the comments, do you get less than 6 hours a night, and is weight something you struggle with? or you don't have to even say if weight is something you struggle with, but if you get less than 6 hours a night, ask yourself, is weight also something that you are working on? It can also lead to blood sugar issues, blood sugar regulation issues, or insulin resistance. And I think we've all been there when we're tired and we're like running on too little of sleep. We're often trying to fuel our energy and keep our energy up throughout the day. And that often is extra caffeine, sugary snacks, processed snacks, fatty foods, and a lot of like nighttime snacking. And a lot of studies have shown that a healthier amount of sleep, 7 to 9 hours or more, can also help us with regulating where those snacking tendencies are. And all of those things are linked with, weight gain or struggles with weight. Lastly, and kind of think one of the most, well, for me, the most important, and I've seen is where I'm at with my mental health when I am getting enough sleep versus not getting enough sleep. So not only is it just cognitive function, like I definitely have that brain fog, but also like, we've seen the toddlers or the little kids that need the nap that aren't getting enough sleep. 10x that as you get older. Like emotional regulation and just our body's natural ability to reduce our stress, our stress management necessarily. It also can enhance and exacerbate mood disorders, our brain function, and just overall well-being, immune system function, our gut health, all of our bodily processes that can also feed into mental health. Just feeling bad, feeling slow, feeling malaise, right? Like that is, those early signs of illness or not feeling good. And so sleep is really essential to that mental health and giving our body that leg up to be able to be healthy, happy, and have a healthy mental health as well. There are and scarily, there are a lot of links with risk, self-harm and risk-taking behavior or even suicide with like a chronic sleep deprivation. So there are some really important, like those are all big things. Like all of these things can matter differently to different people, but these are some pretty clear reasons why prioritizing our sleep is really essential. All of that is fed by our hormone health. And because our hormones control all of these bodily functions. So Jenny's going to talk a little bit about that and go a little deeper for us.
Yeah, so I love this topic because I always like to say, what if it really was that simple? I think we can overcomplicate our health, whether it's hormone health or our fitness or whatever angle. We can overcomplicate it. We want to know, like, what's the best diet to follow or what's the best workout program to follow, right? And I like to say, what if we just keep it really simple? Like, what if it was as simple as prioritizing your sleep first and then focusing on the other fundamentals of hormone balance? So since tonight we're talking about sleep, I want to start with this, which is that 72% of women are living with a hormone imbalance. At some point in their life, a woman is going to face hormone imbalance, if not before perimenopause, then during. Now, I know we have men and women probably listening to this, so sleep applies for all of us, right? But women have this sort of extra layer. We are all, men and women, are circadian beings, meaning that we wake up in the morning, our cortisol is highest in the morning. It slowly tapers throughout the day as melatonin rises at night. So turns out we're part of nature, right? Go figure. We're part of nature, but modern society has kind of brought us away from nature. We live a lot of our days indoors behind walls, without the sunshine in our face. We live in front of blue screens, televisions, phones, all the things, and it actually disrupts our cortisol. Cortisol is one of our primary hormones. If you look at the endocrine system, I know I don't have enough time tonight to go through the whole explanation, but cortisol is really the top player in the game with hormone health because if no one's told you this before, cortisol is our survival hormone. It is our fight or flight hormone, our run from a bear hormone, right? And your body is always going to prioritize survival first, which means that cortisol really in the hierarchy of things is the very top, right? Well, our cortisol, like I said, goes in this beautiful tandem dance with melatonin. And that dance is known as our circadian rhythm. When we get out of touch with that circadian rhythm, that's when we tend to see a lot of hormone imbalance issues flare up, especially as women, right? And especially in perimenopause, if not before. So a lot of times people will say, well, what do I need to do? Like, what are the, once again, like what's the best diet to follow? What's the best fitness plan to follow? The answer is actually, let's get it back in touch with your circadian rhythm. And we do that through getting out in nature, right? And I don't, you want to talk about this now, Jamie? Like go all into the full thing, or wait till the later? Okay, well, wait. So we'll talk about what those things might be later that you can do to control, what you can control in this. But at the end of the day, paying attention to how much a part of nature are we? The average person is waking up in the morning. They're most likely grabbing a cup of coffee or some form of caffeine. Most people are having that on an empty stomach, which messes with our blood sugar, which also messes with our cortisol. And then we're going through the day, whether it's going to work or whatever, and we're kind of living this life that is very out of touch with the outdoors, with sunlight, and with being in tune with that circadian rhythm. So that's where we stand so far, but I can't wait to come back on here in a few minutes and talk more about what we can do and what's within our control when it comes to that circadian rhythm. All right, perfect. So let's talk about, I'm gonna hand it over to, you want me to hand it to Jace or hand it to you?
Hand over to Jace.
All right, perfect. Jace, your turn. Let's see that robe.
Okay. I was like taking so many notes. I'm like, okay. So I'm going to talk about the night supplement. And I'll go over just sort of what some of these ingredients are. Jamie did a really good job putting it up on the slide. So it's a great screenshot opportunity. But I just wanted to kind of go into my own history just for a second. So I am an insomniac. I was born with it. It's hereditary. It's in my family all over the place. It stemmed for me from anxiety and ADHD. It was like a nervous system dysregulation. It's important to understand that there's a lot of different sleep issues. It's not just like, I can't fall asleep. There's like, I can't fall asleep. I can't stay asleep. I have restless sleep. I have dysfunctional sleep, like sleep apnea. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that they have some kind of sleeping disorder. If you wake up tired, something is happening, like something's going on. So whether you fall asleep easily, it doesn't mean you're staying asleep. It doesn't mean you're getting good sleep. It's such an important topic that I was just kind of living with because I was born sort of with this insomnia mentality. But in 2016, I hit a really bad bout of depression. Mental health is directly related to sleep patterns. And my physician at the time said to me, the only difference between depression and bipolar is sleep deprivation, which I don't know if that's true, but that resonated with me because I have two bipolar sisters, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I don't get this under control, like this is going to go in a bad direction. And that's really when things started to shift and I started to really pay attention. So sometimes you just honestly need to get scared to sleep and like really figure it out for yourself. So I started doing a couple things, which I can give you some tips on. But as I was kind of thinking through my journey and thinking through this little night supplement, even I started to kind of put a couple pieces together because some of these ingredients directly affect your nervous system, right? They actually are there to kind of calm your nervous system down and naturally get you ready for sleep. So magnesium, specifically, the glycinate element to that magnesium is what helps with the stress and sleep quality. So it's not just like relaxing your muscles, which it also helps with. And it's also really good for your bones. It says it right there on this thing, but it also, that specific ingredient, the glycinate, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, is directly correlated to stress and sleep quality, like by bringing your nervous system into regulation. So the other thing about the passion flower and the lemon balm extract, those are both centuries old herbs that have been used for a really long time to deal and help people cope with anxiety, which I think is incredible. These boost your mood. They help you relax, right? I have a very hard time relaxing. I cannot shut my brain off when I go to bed. And that's why it's hard for me to get to sleep. And that's why I think those specific ingredients have helped me. And then the L-theanine, the sun-theanine is actually just the way that it's distributed. It's a like this says, it's a branded form of the L-theanine that's going to help. It's a concentrated form, right? That's going to help improve that relaxation and that sleep. So what I love about this the most is that it's non-addictive, right? It's a non-addictive sleep aid. It is gentle. And I've actually found that if I'm having a really anxious day, I can take it in mid-afternoon and it also has the same effect to calm my system down. Again, I have ADHD, I have anxiety, so this may not be the case for everybody, but for me, it's got kind of that multi-purpose use and has been really helpful. And just to give you a couple things, just a couple tools, one of the game changer tools that I've used, or people that I guess I've found, his name is Matthew Walker. He's a sleep expert. He actually just did a master class on that app. If any of you guys have access to it, that is phenomenal. I mean, he goes through everything to a T, and it is the most interesting. Like, you just have no idea. Jen was talking about the circadian rhythm, and I've traveled a lot, over 25 countries, and it's been interesting to kind of note in each country how I sleep differently. And Jamie and I went to Bali last January, and I came back from that trip and I was like, I guess my circadian rhythm is on Bali time, because I've never slept like that before in my life. And I think it's just, there's so many factors into it. So I just wanted to bring to light a couple really big things that have to change. One is alcohol consumption before bed. I know that there's like all these different things about drinking wine and your heart and winding down and all this stuff. That masterclass will completely blow your mind as far as alcohol and sleep. But I think a couple other things, obviously, are electronics, drinking too much liquid a few hours before bed. Like one of the people in the chat, I don't know who it was, said that they wake up to go to the bathroom. That gets worse. The older you get, that gets worse if you've had babies. So even just stopping liquid 2 to 3 hours before bedtime instead of the recommended hour helps with that. For those less disruptions. But a couple of things that I started to do immediately after that doctor's appointment. And just so you guys know, once I sleep trained myself, I haven't had a bout of depression since that time, since 2016. That was the last time I was treated, medicated, diagnosed with any kind of depression. I think the sleep training really led me to understanding the anxiety and the ADHD and learning how to cope with these triggers that were triggering all of it. So, which again, I just didn't have the clarity for that at the time. So number one, I think just going into a sleep mode and having triggers for me, even if it's not the ingredients, it's these little things like this, like me physically taking this, that puts my body into a sleep mode. Like it says, Jace, you're getting ready for bed and it's time to wind down. And I think the more you create those sleep mode triggers for yourself, like plugging your phone in at the same time every night away from you, taking electronics out of your room, like it can be taking a bath or a shower before bed, whatever it is that you are going to deem your sleep mode trigger, the more you do it, the better and easier this process gets. Because it is very challenging to sleep train. It's going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every day. It's a brutal couple weeks, but these things can really, really help with that.
I love that. So that was perfect. We're going to go to Kim next. I want to say too about the night supplement, that one of the things that differentiates it from a lot of other nighttime supplements is it does not have melatonin in it. So our body naturally creates its own melatonin. And so a lot of synthetic melatonins can actually be a hormone disruptor. And I would always suggest staying away from those things. So I do love that we don't have that in there. So I just wanted to add that too. But Kim is going to talk about some other fun stuff.
So there we go. Hey guys. So this is actually my routine, which is what I would be doing anyway. So it actually worked out perfectly. But one of the things that I think is important is to connect things that actually start to let your body know that it's time to go to bed. It's time to release tension, and actually do things that can put your body in a state where your temperature is lower, right? Because that's, I'm 52, I'm fully in menopause. And so that's always a big complaint from people is they get too hot when they sleep and, they have tension and body aches and all those other things. And so one of the things that I have been doing is First of all, I'm really into really nice pajamas. And so it's not just like throw on like some sweats, whatever. It's like it's like a routine that I get into. I get into my nice pajamas, and then my face, I actually just washed with our cleanser. I'm like obsessed with our cleanser, but I'm not here to talk about that part, but it is part of my routine. But one of the things that I love about this company in general is they make one product that has multiple uses. And so one of the things that I love about the night serum is it's not just to have beautiful skin and help you restore. It actually has ingredients in there designed so that you can relax. And so one of the things that is in there is blue tansy, and I'll actually show you. You can actually probably see it actually matches my pajamas. And blue tansy is part of the chamomile family. And so one of the things that I do is I just put it in my hands right here. And I actually do a little bit of breathing with it. And so I just kind of like tent my fingers over my nose and just breathe in. And then I put it all over my skin, just like this. And then I'm telling you, like just the smell of it, just like my whole body just is like, okay, babe, like we're ready to relax. And so the next thing I started doing was using a gua sha. And I was really interested in the gua sha because I've tried to stay away from like Botox and things like that. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I'm just trying to do the natural kind of thing. And a gua sha really works in helping your skin do that. And so I literally just do, you can follow, there's like different things. We actually even have a guide that can help you, but you're helping your circulation. And I just want to do this for like a couple seconds because I want you to see what happens to my skin. Do you see my skin starting to like plump up there and get pink? That is moving chi energy, and that's from Chinese medicine. And chi energy has said that it's supposed to help blood circulation. It helps you regulate your body temperature. And so when I do this, especially when I do this here, like over here, I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like whatever is in my brain that day is like, it is like everything is like letting go in doing that. And so there is a lot of things in here that is actually designed to restore your skin. And the best way to explain it is when you go to bed, everything you've come across during the day is going to bed with you unless you have cleansed it off and unless you have put something on your skin to help battle that. And so our night serum is amazing. I was actually watching the formulator and she said it's literally like putting out a fire when you put this night serum on your skin. And so a lot of people, it helps extremely with a lot of inflammation that might be going on in your skin. I know I've had people like rosacea and other issues that they absolutely love the night serum. And you should know this. When you go to sleep at 2 a.m. is where your skin process starts regenerating and starts really restoring. If we are up in the middle of the night, if we are not sleeping soundly, that process is like not going on. And so it actually makes perfect sense when we don't sleep, when we wake up the next day, and it's very apparent that, we don't sleep. And so there's vitamin A, vitamin E, those things are the best for the regeneration of skin. And a lot of things that I have heard, I heard this great analogy. And the analogy was, you have a box spring, you have a mattress, and you have a sheet. And so the skin that you see on the outside is like your sheet, and it starts like crumbling up or whatever. But what really is happening is what's happening with the mattress and with the box spring. And so putting on something like a night serum is actually helping that, so that, your sheet starts to spread out a little more, so you have less wrinkles on there. But for me, like, even just the smell of it, like, puts me in a mood that I just feel like that tension in my body. I feel like everything really goes away. And the fact that this month that we are actually putting the PM supplement and the night serum together is just absolutely brilliant. Because if you're somebody of a female wanting to sleep better, or even a male, I have to tell you, so my sons, I have 19-year-old and a 17-year-old and an ex-husband, and all three of them use our night serum too. So it's not just for women.
I love it. I can like smell. I don't have the night serum near me, but I can smell it because I love the smell. Like I saw you do it and I just like triggered my own
Yeah.
senses. I'm like, oh, I love that smell. It smells like a spa. So one of the things like Jenny talked about was cortisol, right? Our body's natural circadian rhythm, it is like our cortisol will generally, a healthy cortisol will lower at night. And then in the morning, it'll lower throughout the day because as we wake up, it'll be higher. And so we want to support our body's natural rhythm, our natural inclination, and support that lowering of the cortisol so we can get a really restful sleep. So Jace gave some really great tips on some ways to really set yourself up. And the intention here is for all of us to find that routine, to create that routine that really works for us and our family. And so there are plenty of ideas out there. I love the idea of the master class. This was our Tina's walkthrough. And so I'm going to just share with y'all what she does, but she says it starts a reverse engineer process about 4 hours before she needs to go to bed. But that starts by she has to figure out what time she needs to wake up the next day. So you want to leave at least 7 to 8 hours. I know I spent a very long season of my life that 7 hours was going to be like a lot of sleep for me. I ran chronically off of too little sleep, and I almost prided myself off of the fact that I only needed 5 to 6 hours of sleep. And now I have an adrenal disorder and called Addison's, and that's definitely linked to the fact that I did not give myself rest and repair for a decade or more. And so you want to figure out what time you need to wake up in the morning, reverse engineer what that hard stop need to go to bed is. So let's say it's 10 o'clock. And then you want to start reverse. So she says her evening routine starts 4 hours before that. So say bedtime is 10, hard stop at 6 p.m. is when you start intentionally going through the things that you need to do that night to get ready for bed, whether that's homework with the kids, prepping lunches for the next day, finishing up dishes, bath time, anything like that. About an hour before bed is when your personal self-care routine starts. And I know some of this might sound like, oh, that's really nice, but you don't know how crazy it is in my house. That's okay. You just start a baby step at a time, right? And so her evening routine looks like that she doesn't sleep, she doesn't drink anything too close to bed because we already established that's definitely going to be a disruptor as we age, especially like, over 40. But having an herbal tea, something non-caffeinated, that I think it's the viral cherry juice. I'm not sure what that is, but I know I've seen it coming up on Instagram a lot. They like that, some sort of like a warm beverage or just a beverage that's going to help kind of support that cortisol, our slowing down of our body, our PM supplement, our night supplement, and then turning off technology. And I think this is the easiest, most simple, but often most overlooked and ignored component. And Jenny's going to talk in a second about why, more specifically about why the technology, Wi-Fi, EMFs are so important. But turning off the technology, that means your phone, your tablet, your TV. So sleeping with the TV on absolutely is going to be probably the worst thing you could ever do for your health and your sleep. She turns the temperature down. Studies show that if you sleep in a cooler environment, even if you're, hot flashes, it's going to help, especially, or if your body temperature regulation, but even just in general, deep sleep is going to be most supported in a colder space, a cooler room. Artina loves to take a nice shower. I love a really nice bath before bed. Like I really love, just like for me, it's like the stimulation, the senses. It really gets all of my senses really kind of like like almost like a weighted blanket, but in water form, but a nice shower, turning everything on do not disturb, plugging it in a way, setting that bedtime alarm where that, and you can actually program your iPhone or your phone to like at a certain time every night, it automatically goes on do not disturb or airplane mode. And then sleep looks like a sound machine. I sleep with a fan, doing a little bit of mindfulness or meditation, and then having a blacked out room. Blackout curtains are really powerful, but even just like studies will show like even like the little light from your alarm clock or from a night light can be really disruptive to sleep too. So there's so many, if you have other ideas, put them in the chat, things that work for you. I think that I love the idea of like having an intentional evening routine, like is triggering your body. Like I love, Kim shared putting on her special pajamas, washing your face, putting on your night serum, even just those things you start to do, it's going to internalize the triggers and those signals to your body that, hey, this is when we start to slow down, especially if you can really build a habit out of it. Jenny, will you talk a little bit more about circadian rhythm and how technology plays into that?
Yeah, sure thing. So the first thing I want to say though, just based on that last slide, Artina's slide, something that I've been doing recently that I'll share with you guys is I've been taking the PM supplement, the capsules, and breaking it apart into some tart cherry juice as sort of like an hour and a half to 2 hours before bedtime. Tart cherry juice is really great for muscle recovery for my fellow women who like to exercise and train. It's also great for sleep, and those magnesium L-theanine capsules, you can break them apart into your cherry juice just to make a little fun little mocktail for yourself too. So just throwing that out there. Okay. So we talked about how women are both circadian and infradian beings, right? And we don't have time tonight to go into the infradian side of things. That is our menstrual cycle and how we align with the moon. But that's all kind of takes into account the fact that we're also circadian. We're part of nature, which is how we started, right? So let's talk about the things that you can do. These are the things that are within your control that I consider to be those simple things, right? Like what if this really was as simple as mastering these things? The first thing is getting sunlight first thing in the morning and then again at sunset in the evening, even if it's just 5 minutes each time. So even just stepping outside, I think it's Matthew Walker and I know Andrew Huberman and some other experts in the field. They talk about a lot of significant research being done on the fact that just stepping outside your front door, preferably taking off your shoes and socks, unless it's absolutely freezing outside, which I still do it even when it's cold outside, but going outside in the morning within 30 minutes of waking up, putting your feet into the earth and looking up toward the sun. Of course, not looking directly into the sunlight, but closing your eyes, looking toward the sun, and then doing the same thing in the evening. So as the sun is starting to set, maybe you go on that 10-minute walk after dinner. That's really great for boosting sleep as well. It's really great for digestion. Getting outside, looking up toward the sun as it's about to set. Doesn't have to be like people always freak out. Like, well, what if I don't, like, what time should it be? Don't freak out about the details. Keep it simple within 30 minutes of waking and then 30 minutes before the sun goes down. The second thing you can do is you can hydrate yourself with actual minerals, right? And this is where the hydrate and detox from Hue and Grace comes into place. I love it for many reasons, but I love the fact that I'm getting kind of a twofer, right? I'm getting those minerals that I need to be able to properly absorb my water. I always say, people like to carry their jug around. I see this, all the time in the gym and wherever people want to carry their gallon jug of water and they're measuring their water, making sure they're getting enough water. That's awesome. But if you're not getting the right minerals to really absorb that water and help your body hydrate, you're not even really fueling your body in the way that it needs with that water. So I like the hydrate and detox because you're getting a twofer. Like I said, you're getting the hydration with the minerals, but you're also getting the glutathione and the things that you need to really detox the liver and to aid in that digestion. So starting your day with water. You remember earlier, I said the average American is grabbing caffeine or coffee first thing in the morning without any food in their belly and before they have any water. Your body has been dehydrated through the night. You've gone several hours sleeping where your body has not had any water. So give it what it needs, give it what it wants with that drink of water. Maybe you make your hydrate and detox and then you walk outside and look toward the sun. It's really that simple. From there, fed over fasted workouts. For my fellow mamas out there who like to get their workouts in the morning, this is something that I teach often, is this idea of having some form of fuel before you work out. This could be a whole presentation in itself, so I'll keep it short. But a lot of us are used to fasted workouts, right? We're doing, pressing play on a home workout or going to the gym or taking a class without having any food in our belly first. And it's actually really more conducive for you to put food in your belly first. It doesn't have to be a full meal, doesn't have to be a buffet. It can just be 150 calories, something protein, protein rich that can really help set you up for success in that workout. Now, the reason for that is it's going to help stabilize your blood sugar. Your blood sugar and your cortisol oppose each other, right? So in order to keep that cortisol in check, our blood sugar also has to be in check. If you're going into your workout in a fasted state where you're not fueling and there's no blood sugar regulation, there's the cortisol's through the roof, and you're actually possibly working against your physiology because you're putting your body into that survival mode, right? Cortisol is your survival hormone. Okay, next up is frequent breaks in nature. If you're someone who is working full time, maybe you're behind a desk, maybe you're in the corporate environment, do what you can. This isn't like the end all be all, but if you can get outside for a 5-minute break, get outside for a 5-minute break. From there, no caffeine after noon. So I love my coffee, right? I'm very bougie about my coffee, but I make sure that I have my coffee or any form of caffeine before noon. We have significant evidence to show that any caffeine consumed after noon will disrupt your sleep during the night. You might not think it does. You might think, oh no, I go to sleep fine. I assure you, you could sleep even better if you weren't having caffeine after noon. From there, blue light blocking glasses. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them many places, right? Blue light blocking glasses. I put mine on usually in the evening. Today I have on my regular glasses, but usually I'll put them on in the evening, especially if my husband and I are going to watch TV or if I have my phone in front of me. It's just that extra protection from blue light. And then an evening bedtime routine. I mean, you literally just heard from Kim, her bedtime routine with her skin, but you know, there's so many things to be said here about just at the end of the day, keeping it simple and making sure that your bedtime routine is just down regulating your nervous system, right? It sounds to me like Kim is getting that through the aroma of her skin serum. She's getting that through the gua sha. She's getting that through that routine for her. For me, it might look like listening to a 5-minute breathwork app while I'm getting ready for bed, right? Like making sure that I'm not checking my Instagram notifications or I'm not, paying attention to all the dings and the messages on my phone. And instead, I'm finding a way to really downregulate my nervous system to prepare for sleep. And then last but not least, this is something that a lot of people overlook. And I actually learned about this myself about a year ago, and it's been a game changer for me. And that is the impacts of EMF on your sleep. So you actually have the ability to set a timer on your Wi-Fi. We do this now as of, like I said, about a year ago. We have a timer on our Wi-Fi so that it shuts off at 11 p.m., which also helps me with my bedtime routine. So I'm not on my phone. And then from there, it lasts until 6 o'clock in the morning. So when my daughter gets up for school, she's usually the first one up. She's the first one on the internet in the morning. So we're shutting down the EMF waves in our house, which is helping boost our deep and REM sleep. So those are some simple things. I'm gonna recap it for you guys. It might sound like a lot that I'm saying, but they're very simple things that take 30 seconds or less to do. Getting that sunlight in the morning, walking outside, looking up toward the sun, doing it again in the evening if you can, but morning is key. Water with minerals, your hydrate and detox. Fed over fasted workouts. If you're not currently eating something before your workout, try 100 calories, high protein snack before you work out. Frequent breaks in nature, especially if you're behind a desk or computer all day with those blue light blocking glasses. No caffeine after noon. Incorporating a bedtime routine that works for you, and that's going to be different for everybody. And then shutting off the EMF and the Wi-Fi during your sleep. So those are my tips for how to reset your circadian rhythm and how to avoid hormone imbalance. Like when people say to me, what's the number one thing I can do to get my hormones back in check? This is the answer. Reset your circadian rhythm. If you can become more with nature, you will help your body naturally get back to balance.
That is like my favorite biohack as well. And I think that it's, I would love for you to, if you all can just start experimenting with it. Like the next time you're feeling a little stressed, I love to walk out in the yard with the dogs in the morning. Of course, I'm in Vermont. It's snowy and cold sometimes, but just test this out for yourself. Anytime you feel yourself a little stressed or you feel that anxiety creeping up, or just be intentional, like walk to the mailbox or walk around the block or something like that. And just notice. Like today I knew I was working a long day. It was a lot. And I just went out to the chicken coop and took a break. And because I had some chores to do other, but just being outside completely reset my energy and my brain. And saw some really great suggestions in the chat. You guys have a lot of really great ideas for other things to just wind down that nervous system, set yourself up for a good night's sleep. I will say, I don't know all of the facts about this, but lavender is also a known hormone disruptor. So I saw a few of you saying you were using lavender. I always thought lavender was supposed to be used for relaxation as well, and recently learned that that was maybe not as great as we once thought. So I would just suggest y'all to maybe just experiment and see if it might be a good thing to eliminate. You know, once we know better, we can do better, but I didn't know that for a really long time. And we wanted to invite you guys to try some of these things. Most of everything we shared is absolutely free, but we do have this amazing Glow to Sleep bundle. That is on sale this month for the Sleep Awareness Month. So it includes all the things we talked about. This adorable mask that Jace has on her forehead right now is a free gift with that, and it comes with our hydrating lip mask as well. And so there's, you know, we have just a normal retail. HG Insider is on a subscription. It's kind of like a loyalty program with you and Grace, or as an advocate, you save 25% as well. So there is, and then a lot of people, I think there are some fun promos going on with a lot of us for this month. So reach out to whoever invited you to this little workshop, this class, and get a link to order or learn more. And ultimately, our hope and our goal is that you can take the reins back over your health and really just set some habits into place, build some habits, build a routine, and feel good. I think that a lot of times we are so busy and we deprioritize our sleep as just whatever happens, happens. But really, if we can put that to the top of our priority list, our lives can absolutely change. So if we're done with our presentation, if anyone has questions, we can do that. But I know we've gone a little over on time, so we wanted to make sure you guys are free to go. And just thank you so much for giving us that time. But if anyone has questions, feel free to unmute or put them in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the live stream though on Facebook. All right, well, thank you all. So glad to hear. Okay, bye guys.